Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It is summertime and it's time to get the boat out. We just started cleaning it up a little bit and we were looking for a fuel leak we had. We're trying to track it down. Meanwhile, we need to replace the wear rings for the back of the impellers here. Picked up 2 new wear rings. We're just going to try and walk you through this and give you guys an idea how these are set up. So obviously, got to take our reverse mechanisms off, the linkage there. There should be 4 bolts around here. We'll get them pulled off, show you what we got, and then once we get in the garage, we'll show you how we take them apart, put the new ones in. The new wear rings we stuck in the freezer right now to get them to cool down a little bit and shrink up. That'll help us when we go to install them. So guys, with this being a twin engine jet boat, this is the linkage lever that comes for the reverse. So we have to take this nut off, get that rod off there, cable, whatever you want to call it. And then what we'll have to do is these two are tied together, so both of them reverse at the same time. So I'll have to separate this linkage here, and I'll show you that as we get going. By taking one of these bolts here, this thing spins up. There's a bolt there. Taking that bolt out of each side of this reverse gear, you can pivot that down and expose the Allen wrench or Allen bolt that gets the reverse cover off. Now with both reverse gear pieces off, we can come back here. We're going to get that linkage rod off for the steering now, and unhook the steering rod over here as well. Okay, now with the steering linkage off, the 2 jet cones removed, we can move on to pulling the jet assembly off. So, I think I got to pull all 8 of these bolts, but I got to go look at my kit to make sure that we got everything we need. Go from there. So when taking the steering shaft on these twin sportsters, all you can do is unhook that one linkage rod there. That controls both steering. The center bar there controls one engine to the other side. Okay guys, and the last thing we just did, we took these 4 bolts off here, and that whole jet cone and the housing there come off, 2 pieces. So this here comes off here, that comes with it. So now this is what we're left with. We got 4 bolts. Pull them 4 bolts off, and we can get that wear ring out. Okay, so now we got this assembly off. We'll just show you what we got going on up here. Some 4 bolts come off. This seal, we'll have to replace this. There's a seal in there we're going to replace. And then we'll show you as we get the old wear ring out. We still got this one to pull off yet, so we'll pull that off quick and be ready to go. Okay guys, we're in the garage now. We got this off the boat. We're going to take this nose cone off. I just drained the fluid out of there. There's a little Allen screw right there in front of you. Drain the oil out first, then take them 3 bolts out for the cone. We'll pop that off, and then we'll get the prop off. I know guys have seen on there doing this without taking the prop off. It's an extra step, and you're not trying to fight to get your screwdriver or chisel in there to get that popped out of there. It just seemed a lot easier. This one here came out pretty good. The one wear ring wasn't bad, but I want to change it in a pair. The propeller came off easily. I do have the tool. So here's the tool. It slides into the end of the propeller, and then I stuck this in a vise, and then you turn the other end of put a wrench on the other end of this cone here. You'll see when we get off, there's a shaft and get a flat, either adjustable wrench or a wrench on there, and turn that clockwise or counterclockwise to loosen it. If you were loosening it with this from the other side, just holding that piece, you'd basically go right to loosen it up on this one. But anyway, we'll show you that when we get to that part. But we're gonna take the nose cone off real quick, and then we'll get this wear ring out. Okay, guys, we're gonna try and do this and keep it in the camera view. So your little tool that they send with the new wear rings slides in the bottom of here. Make sure it's pressed all the way into the splines. This one's not. Once it's in there, I just stick this in the vise, clamp it down really good, Hopefully we won't lose you guys in the... Now I just took my adjustable wrench to make sure you get on the flat part of that nut. And once it breaks loose, it goes pretty slick. There's a bearing in here. When you put it back together, make sure that bearing is pushed all the way up where it belongs, so we don't lose anything and everything gets positioned where it needs to be. So see that whole shaft come out? That's the shows that the impeller's out. Here's the impeller. Now we can pull our tool out. We'll just set this one here. Alright guys, I'll try and leave that there and let you see what we're doing here. So on you guys with jet skis, it doesn't really matter, but because this is a jet boat and it's a twin engine, actually mark this with an L, the other one with an R, so I remember which one's which. And we want to get this sitting in here so it's going to stay on my pads. Just a good tip for you, let that oil drain a little longer. I probably should have let it drain out of my bucket here longer, but I was impatient. I want to get this going for you guys. So anyway, get your screwdriver on the edge of that rear ring. Just when you get it started the first time, it takes the longest. Once you get it started, then it moves pretty quick. Now, some of you guys with saltwater boats, you're fighting to get the deal with all the oxidation and stuff from the salt. We're lucky we don't have to deal with much of that here. It's starting to move now. Once you get past that first couple taps where you get your bigger screwdriver in there, then it goes pretty smooth, as you'll be able to see here shortly. Keep going back and forth, side to side, so it goes down evenly, doesn't get wedged in there. Not a whole lot to these things. Once you guys take them apart, you'll be surprised how simple some of this stuff is. Just like anything else, it's getting used to working on it. We don't got many marinas around here that'll even work on jet boats. You got guys that work on skis and they don't work on the boats, and the guys at the marinas don't want to work on the wall. So to find anybody reasonable price is almost impossible. So this is just a cheap toy for us. We're not going to spend a fortune keeping it running. So and we're almost out, guys. It's slowly working this thing down. So more taps on each side. We'll have her. Without hitting my fingers. And that one's out. So this one actually took a little longer than the other one, but so you can see there's not a whole lot to it. I'm going to go get the new wire rings. We've been heading the freezer for a while now. Get it ready to put in, and then what we're going to do, we're going to flip this over and get our blocking going and just tap it in. Okay guys, so we just pulled this wire ring out of the freezer. We're going to get this all wiped out real quick, and then we'll slide a new one in here. Should have wiped this out before I went and got it, but got busy. Yeah, I like to try and just get it started a little bit on one side and then work your way around. Once you get it close, you can tap it pretty evenly around with the board so you're not getting too warped out of shape. And that one's in there. Alright, so now we got to put our color back So this thing, like I said before, pretty simple. Slide it in. Start it by hand. Stick our tool back in there. And once we get close to that, stick our adjustable wrench on the other side. Hold it. Want to make sure we keep that bearing pushed in on the back side though when we're doing this. I'm holding my finger and pull your tool back out. Let's check how clean this one. Okay, so now the wear rings are in. Quite a bit tighter. Hopefully that makes a big difference. This one here, I don't know if you guys can see it, it's pretty boogered up, so I'm hoping that holds up pretty good, but we'll see. We need to probably get a couple new props, but... So our wear rings are back in and we're ready to reassemble. Actually not yet, sorry guys. If you look down here, I got the nose cone put back on this one already. We get our nose cone put on this one. And then fill these full of oil. So let's get that done quick. We want to make sure we position our oil plug towards the top. The narrow side goes towards the top. Put your bolts back in there. Remember guys, make sure you clean up that O-ring really well before you put these back on. Okay, so now we're ready to go here except for filling the oil. So we'll take our Allen wrench, pull the plugs out, and fill these back full of oil. I don't know if you guys can see, but that set screw is right here. We'll fill these back up. I'm using an extended synthetic blend gear lube here. Okay guys, got a little ahead of myself here. You saw how we took it apart. Anyway, these 4 bolts, this one, and the 2 below that, hold this cone on, this bracket. The main assembly, it's the 4 back bolts. Try to put on that, make sure you put your seal in there between. Make sure the shafts line up good. That's all tightened down now. We just added put the link on for the steering. That's controls your steering for both sides. There's a link that runs from one side to the other. Now we're ready to put the reverse on. Okay, we're going to put our reverse cups back on. Remember when we did this, we had to swing the, trying to line up the reverse hole of the Allen screws we took out earlier. Just Gonna get them started loosely, both of them on the inside. There's 4 of these that hold the reverse on it. Remember, we had to pivot the this linkage out of the way to get to the back side of the one. This one's in. Now I got the 2 outside ones started. Just going to torque these down so we can put our linkage bracket back. Maybe. So you see this pushing? Okay, so this is just our bracket to help with the reverse. Ties the 2 together. When you pull the reverse cable, it pulls it back. And like I said, you had to move them 2 bolts out of the way to swing that bracket down to get your Allen screws in for the reverse caps. Okay guys, it's all back together. Last thing you had to do is this little linkage rod here to here. It's got a lock nut on, so don't crank it too tight or you'll have a hard time getting your shifter to move for forward and reverse. It's all back together. Well guys, there it is. It's all wrapped up for the SeaDoo Sportster 1800. We got the battery, the fuel leak fixed, and we got new wear rings put in this thing. It is ready to rock and roll. We're going to take it out this week, give it a test drive. Let's take a quick look at a couple other projects we got coming up. You guys seen the Mustang? That's the Mustang. We got a 35 Pontiac back there too, plus the 34 you guys have been watching. We're collecting parts for both of these. The 35's got quite a bit of stuff. We're pretty much ready to go with that. That's going to be a while down the road, but we got some neat stuff coming with that. It's got a flathead 6 in it, and that thing runs, so it'll be fun to get that out.